Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. We're the movie couple.
Oh
and I'm Dustin.
Oh man, I'm Wendy.
And this is our review for Venom.
Non-spoiler.
Venom is directed by Reuben Fleischer and stars Tom Hardy, Michelle Williams, and Riz Ahmed. Reporter Eddie Brock becomes the host of an alien symbiont called Venom and has to work together with Venom to protect the world from the Life Foundation. The trailers that we saw for this movie kind of had a plus and minus. When we first saw them, we kind of laughed at some of them, especially when they had the symbiote kind of thing.
Oh, right, when she says symbiote, and then they change it to symbiote for the movie.
And then the second trailer came out, and we were like, okay, this is starting to look a little bit better. But then we got the news that they were not going to make it rated R.
Yeah. I think they really, really missed out on an opportunity to make a really, really fantastic movie that is rated R. And if they were worried about rated R movies not making enough money, I think they should take a look at Deadpool 1 and 2.
Yep.
Which made plenty of money, and, like, people... Okay, I'm not advertising that this is a good thing to do, okay? But before I turned 17, I was able to get in... Let's just say I was able to get into R-rated movies.
Ratings don't restrict who can really go in.
It really doesn't, especially if it's like a family thing. Like, we saw plenty of family, you know, young teens in this with their parents. So I just think that with the characters such as Venom and some of the action scenes, it really, really seemed like it was watered down due to the PG-13 rating.
Yeah, and after, you know, we saw the second trailer, everything kind of started to go downhill. We heard that the early reviews weren't that good about it, so we went into this movie going, okay, hopefully we can get something good out of it.
Yeah.
And I have to admit, there were some fun parts in this movie.
Yeah, there were some fun parts. I still don't know how I feel. I certainly didn't hate it, but I don't think it's one of those movies that I'm like, gotta go see it again, yes.
Yeah, very true.
I felt like the storyline was kind of...
Convoluted. All over the place.
I really, as much as I like Michelle Williams, I didn't think she was necessary in this one.
No, I did not. The whole romantic relationship between Eddie Brock and Annie was completely unnecessary.
It's really unnecessary, and I think they could have taken the love interest out altogether and strengthened the relationship between Jenny Slate's character and Eddie Brock's character. I think that would have made a much stronger movie going forward. The standout to me in this movie, though, honestly, was Riz Ahmed. I loved him in Rogue One. I absolutely, really liked him in this movie, and I know when we did the trailer reaction, we had talked about, we hope it wasn't like the villain, like,
yeah.
I mean, it could have gone down that way had the actor not been Riz Ahmed, I think.
Very true, and I think they did a good job on making the villain be like, no, what I am doing is the best thing for humanity.
Yeah.
This is where humanity needs to go because we've screwed up the planet so much. But they really just didn't give him much else than that.
Right.
They kind of gave him that kind of role and character, and they're like, okay, cool, now...
Like a very simple villain.
Yeah.
In a way, but it worked in Riz Ahmed's case, and it worked in the case of this movie, because the villain wasn't the star, it was really Eddie Brock and Venom. So I don't know as much about Eddie Brock's personality traits.
That is something that I think...
So, does he act that way?
No, from what I remember, Eddie Brock was kind of a douche.
Right.
He would make up his own stories, and he wouldn't care about fact-checking. He did not really care about the little guy, and that was the big problem with him and Peter Parker, is that Peter Parker was always this kind of self-righteous kind of person. But in this movie, they make Eddie Brock, the knight in shining armor, the investigative reporter, willing to do anything to take down the evil corporation kind of a thing.
Right.
And I think that's kind of where they really kind of went wrong with this. I think they really should have made him more of a darker character.
Yeah, I agree.
I kind of think it would have been cool if they kind of took a book out of the movie Nightcrawler with Jake Gyllenhaal to make him a little bit to where you're like, ooh, this guy's not good.
Yeah.
But give him some traits to where there are some lines that he would not cross. To where he's like, okay, you know what, we could still help people, but there's still some things that make him a little bit of a jerk or someone that you don't quite want to live with.
And I mean, I think they tried that, and I think they were just afraid to kind of pedal to the metal with a certain either character trait or storyline that they just kind of like in between to everything, and that's kind of what this movie felt like to me as a whole, was kind of just like in between.
Yeah.
It just didn't sway one side to the other for me, which is why it kind of left for me as the viewer kind of in the middle, like, nah, I don't know if I liked it, or I don't know if I love it, don't hate it, I don't think so. I did like the special effect on Venom. I thought Venom actually looked really, really cool. And I liked all the parts that Venom was in, and when he was talking to himself down the street, like, that was
funny.
All right, there were a lot of chuckles, and if that was intended, it was achieved, because everybody in the theater was laughing.
Yeah, and one other thing that would kind of rubbed me the wrong way is that this had a lot of the same kind of smell, I guess you can say, as the Amazing Spider-Man 2 did, where they kind of wanted to throw everything in there all at once, and hopefully something would kind of stick to the walls.
You know...
And I wish they would have just kind of focused a little bit more on just Venom, and instead of... Because in the trailers you see all of the other symbiotes.
Yeah.
And I just wish they would have just kind of simplified this a little bit more instead of trying to throw this whole, everything into one basket kind of thing.
Yeah, and it just dawned upon me that I have seen this movie before, a better version of it, earlier this year, and that was called Upgrade by Lee Wynell. So that was... I wish they had gone that route. Like, that's what I would have liked to see, because Venom... Like, a lot of people have been waiting for this movie, and while it had really fun parts in it, I don't really think they fully captured who Venom is and who Eddie Brock is at all in this movie, and I think they added too many side things that wasn't needed, that kind of watered down the storyline. So, do you want to get to ratings?
Sure. For this, I'm kind of torn. I mean, a part of me is kind of like, rent it, but if this isn't kind of your thing... Don't worry about it. Skip it, kind of a thing. So, but if you're a Marvel fan and you like comic books, go ahead and wait for it to come out on DVD and rent it or stream it.
Yeah, I think that my rating, I was kind of... So many in-betweens today. I was in between check it out or rent it, and we really need to come up with a category in between that. So maybe you guys can help us out and put that down in the comment section. But I'm going to have to give this a rent it. It just didn't blow me away. And for a movie of this... big name, this big of a name with the Venom movie and hype and great actors attached like Tom Hardy, Riz Ahmed, and Michelle Williams, I feel like this should have warranted at least to check it out, but I'm going to have to, unfortunately, give it a rented.
So it's not just what we think. What do you guys think? Comment below. Give us your thoughts and opinions. I mean, maybe some of you really love this movie and some of it hits you the right way. Check us out on Patreon, and we'll see you in the next video.